everybody. Welcome to Optimism Fractal. Thank you so much for joining us here. We're at our 30th meeting. We're having fun. We're throwing out the hands a little bit, having good conversations. We're about to play the respect game and also do a town hall later too. So I'm going to give a little presentation to show Optimism Fractal and what's on the agenda for today. As always, feel free to jump in if anyone wants to share anything real quick. And I'm going to share optimismfractal.com. So, Optimism Fractal is a community dedicated to fostering collaboration, awarding public goods creators, and optimizing governance on the superchain, in case you haven't heard about it. And you can learn more about it at optimismfractal.com. Each event is based around a respect game where you can network and make friends and collaborate with very talented innovators on the superchain, and also earn a soulbound token, a very powerful soulbound token called Respect, because we play the Respect game where we each share what we've been doing to help Optimism, and then we collaborate to rank each other's contributions. You can learn more about these and register for weekly events on the site, as well as watch and learn and watch all the awesome videos that we produce and play your part in the videos too. And of course, you can also build with Respect too. We're building open source tools on the OP stack that allow anybody to play the Respect game and to make decisions and so forth. Great place to develop your on-chain career and business. We build in public, and we have a Notion site where you can get involved with lots of resources about Optimism Fractal and the superchain. And there's also lots of funding opportunities too on the superchain, such as retro funding, Optimism Missions, on-chain summer, and you can learn more about these here too. So lots of opportunities to grow and also trailblaze the future of governance too. So we've been working on Optimism Fractal, or the work behind Optimism Fractal for years, and there's a rich history you can learn more about, and you can get involved with governance, participating each week in the Optimism Fractal Sages Council to help make community decisions, and also participate in the town hall too, which we'll have in about 45 or 55 minutes or so, which we have right after the respect game each week, where we discuss topics about optimism and we vote with respect that you earn in the respect game. So Optimism Fractal is nurtured by Eden Fractal. You can learn more about it here, and also found out Optimistics. You can learn more, and we're building on Superchain together. Scaling up Ethereum, open source code base, OP stack. You can learn more about Optimism.io, and examples of great superchain leaders such as base.org, and much more that you can explore on the website. And everybody's welcome to join our events on Thursdays at 17 UTC. Hope to see you here. We love to meet new people, of course, and really appreciate everyone being here and everybody watching. Thanks so much. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We do have a new actual page for Luma right now because we had some issues. So I'm trying to get it fixed. But right now, if you go to lou.moss/optimistics, then you can find the events and register for weekly reminders and so forth, and invite friends. And then you can check out our channel on Warpcast or Farcaster as well. Rosemary's been putting out great tweets about what we'll be discussing at the respect game we're playing, and what we'll be discussing at the town hall, where we have some exciting topics lined up too. And we encourage everybody to like and share and retweet and join the channel and join the conversation and so forth. And also, of course, don't miss the chance to play the respect game every Thursday at 17 UTC. You can watch all the videos at optimismfractal.com/videos, where we're talking about helping the superchain and building together with Optimism Season 6 and On-Chain Summer, all sorts of awesome initiatives going on. And you can see show notes and timestamps and everything like that for each of these episodes we've had for the past 35 weeks. With a couple breaks in between too, and the Eden Creators YouTube channel, where you can find all the videos and playlists, as well as much more related to Optimism Fractal, as well as on the Optimism Governance Forum. You can see our Season 3 and all the episodes we've been doing for the past couple months and so forth, all the cool things we've been doing here. And also a notice too, so we will be starting our 4th season of Optimism Fractal on August 15th, and we'll have a 2-week summer break before that. So the last event of the 3rd season will be on next week, July 25th. That was approved by proposal with our council, with our consensus process. You can learn more about this on the Optimism Fractal website, or also the governance forum post. So just as a notice there, our last week's event will be next week. For our last season's event will be next week. And then we'll be having the Optimism Town Hall, as I said, in about 50 minutes or so. Everybody's welcome to stick around if you're able to, for discussions. And on the agenda today is an OPtopics game, where anybody can propose topics on the Optimism Town Hall Snapshot space. And so far, there's 3 topics proposed about Optimism Fractal social media, mission request, and video production. You can learn more about this in this tweet from the Optimistics as well. And everyone can vote on topics too. We play a game called Cagendas, where we vote with respect. I'll share the links in the description too, so you can learn more about each one of these. And then you can find the snapshot space where you can see how this game will work. Basically, it'll be a fun game where we can choose topics really quickly, and we can see these topics on the agenda for today. Everybody's welcome to propose more. But first, we'll play the respect game. So I think everybody here knows how to play profoundly helpful kinetic games where we foster collaboration and word public good creation and so forth. If you're not sure, there's a little overview about how we do it. We're going to go into breakout groups of 3 to 6 people, and then each person will get 4, maybe 5 minutes to share their recent contributions to optimism. And then we're going to rank each of the contributions and signal just on chain and earn respect if we can reach consensus. You can learn more about this game, the benefits, and see video tutorials on optimistics.io/respect game. And that is it basically for this presentation here. Thanks again, everybody, so much for being here. One last thing I'll say is feel free to ask any questions. Jrocki's joining for the first time. Jrocki's an awesome contributor in Optimism. So thanks so much for joining, Jesse. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask any other participants in your room. We also have a Discord where you can share questions too. And everybody's welcome to record their breakout room too. So if anybody wants to record, then feel free to just let me know now because I can give you recording permissions. And we're working on ways where all videos can be easily accessible so we can promote everybody's work. And feel free to share your screen as well to give other participants and viewers a better understanding of your work, or share any links in the Zoom chat, the Optimism Discord, and also on the Notion site, we have a place where everybody can share their work too. So with that being said, hope everybody enjoyed the presentation, and we're going to go into breakout rooms. Oh, welcome Hadlan too, great contributor to Optimism Fractal. Thanks so much for joining. And
hello.
Hello. We'll get going in the breakout rooms if everybody's ready. Hey, Jrocki. Good to see you. Thanks again so much for joining. Really appreciate all your work.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for hosting this. This is my first time. I'm very interested to see how this works.
Okay, well, sounds great.
Welcome.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And I hope that you have a great time. Hope that everybody has an awesome time. And the breakout rooms are now open.
Hello.
Hey.
Oh,
Good to see you all. Jesse, I suppose first I can ask if you have any questions. We'll get into the breakout, into the respect game and share contributions whenever we're ready. But if you have any questions or anything else you want to share before we get started, then feel free.
No, that was a good overview. Let's get into it. I like the concept.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Would any of you like to kick us off and go first?
All right, I'll go. I'll flow. All right. So, let's see. I don't know, in the past week or so, my contributions to Optimism have been the Grants Council. So I sponsored a couple mission requests from the community, from Dan and some others. And then also as part of the Grants Council work, we ranked all of these mission requests so that we could give it to the token house to vote on. So just some Grants Council work. And then actually yesterday, I just created my first Superfest video tutorial for Aerodrome, and so hopefully I'll have some time in between Grants Council and other stuff to make some more videos. They're kind of step-by-step tutorials for how to participate and take advantage of the rewards during Superfest. And then earlier today, I hosted Demo Day where we had three projects come on in kind of early stages and present what they were building. And then I guess the last thing that I do is I'm also a delegate. So I just voted on the mission intent 1, 2, and 3. Intent 1, decentralization, progress towards decentralization. Intent 2, A and B was grow developers on the super chain. So just voting and ranking which missions we think as delegates are important enough or add enough value to the collective to pass, and then the mission requests that pass and meet quorum, everybody in the community will be able to apply to those mission requests to get funding for whatever project that they're doing. All right, and that's it. I think I kept it under a few minutes, hopefully.
Yep, that was great. Thanks so much, Jesse. By the way, did you prefer if I call you Jrocki or Jesse?
You could call me either one. It doesn't matter. My actual name is Jesse Jrocki, shortened it to Jrocki. I kind of built a brand in the community, I guess, before I joined the Optimism Collective as Jrocki. So it's like I try to keep it Jrocki on like social media, just so everybody kind of recognizes the name.
Okay, very cool.
But you can call me whatever.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for explaining. I never
Real
realized
names
that
are
it was
nice.
you're combining. Yeah, it is. But Jrocki sounds like an awesome. It's like a rock star name or something like that too. So I might alternate between them. Yeah, you did. So you did keep it under a few minutes. If you wanted to share anything else. Also, one thing I forgot to mention too is if you want to just provide like I suppose you kind of already did provide an overview, an introduction to yourself while you're giving your report about what you did over the past week. But if you want to provide any more details for whoever may be watching, like a personal introduction, or if you want to share anything else, then feel free to do so. Or you've also worked with the Optimism for several years, I think 2 years. Actually, the first podcast I ever listened to about Optimism last year was you. So thanks so much for
Very nice.
showing me
Yes.
Optimism. Yeah, I listened to the podcast.
Makes me feel good.
I listened to 2 of your podcasts actually. So thanks so much for all the great work.
Very
If you
cool.
wanted to share anything else, then feel free. So anybody watching this video can learn, or we can learn. But if you want, you can also pass it on to one of us whenever you're ready as well.
Yeah, I forgot to do who I am, the intro. So 2.5 years ago or so, I joined the Optimism community, not actually working for the foundation, but just kind of creating content, doing a podcast, kind of a layer 2 podcast, covering mostly optimism stuff. And then I did a bunch of tutorial videos for the Optimism quests. I just was involved in the ecosystem in general as I was working in Web 2. And then a year and I don't know, like 15 months ago, I joined the Optimism Foundation. And then about 2 months ago, I left the Optimism Foundation to take a little vacation and then also start participating in the DAO. So it's like now I can participate as a delegate and then also be a part of the Grants Council as well. As an Optimism Foundation employee or an Optimism employee previously, the employees aren't allowed to participate in governance. Okay, that's it. Do I have to pick who to pass it to?
Very cool. Thank you.
Whoever wants it.
You're welcome to. If Jason or Will, you want to volunteer, feel free. Otherwise, Jesse, if you want to pick somebody to go next, then. But I see Will is unmuted though too. So.
Sure, I'll go. Why not?
Sounds good.
All right, nice to see a fresh face in here. That's awesome. Whenever you're ready, Dan, you can start the timer.
Okay, sounds good. I suppose maybe I'll put it for 5 minutes because there's only 4 of us. So if you want to take an extra minute, then feel free.
Thank you, appreciate that. So for the new audience, my name is Will T. I'm a 4+ year veteran of the blockchain ecosystem. I am also the founder of Kingfisher's Media. You see represented in the banner behind me. And this is a promotional piece for our new Learn to Earn program that we do. We are an educational media company. And I'll get a little bit into the work that I've been doing this week. So first and foremost, I'm going to share my screen, and everybody let me know that you can see my screen. Okay. Yes, we're good. Awesome.
Yep.
So I voted in some snapshot proposals in the Optimism Town Hall. Also voicing my participation in the Week 35 Council. So that's for starters for this week, specific back to this group. Additionally, as a Gitcoin citizen and Gitcoin steward, I did provide some feedback on this community round proposal leading into Gitcoin Grants 21, which is under review right now as far as what are going to be the official community rounds and which are going to be the top 5 that get extra matching funds from Gitcoin. This was important to me because twofold. One, we have a business manager who is actively building on Luxo. And I feel that as we're expanding our blockchain footprint, it's very important to highlight chains that probably have a good shot at bringing a high amount of users, especially those who have very low knowledge base about this space, onto their network. So as a voice of support for one of our other managers that we're tied to, I did do a reply there as well. Additionally, from that, a lot of what we've been focused on with KF Media was leading into our passport release. So I can say confidently, successfully, we have deployed our education passport opportunities out onto 6 chains simultaneously. That happened on Tuesday, so we now have passports available on Optimism, we have them available on Base, we have them available on Polygon, we have them available on Arbitrum, we have them available on ZK Sync, and we have them available on Luxo as well. So a lot of it was prepping our community and the people who follow our socials for that event. It all started back on the 13th, and we did this series of a marketing campaign. This is the face of the passport. So this is essentially what you get when you mint. So we're just doing this preparation leading up to it. A lot of it, like adding networks to MetaMask tutorial we produced. We did this meme, which Zal was a big fan of this meme. So that was pretty cool because I'm not a good meme generator, and this one seemed to be pretty successful. And it's a little fun in that meme as well. So that's pretty cool. And then just a lot of it was preparation, promoting, running this. We did a tutorial on layer swap. Actually, this is the final version. I was mistaken on the other one. This is the final version. This art is an original piece of art created by one of our art directors within our community. So that was pretty cool. We did a tutorial on the Clave wallet, which I feel is one of the simplest wallets out there that supports ZK Sync era specifically, but it does have support to other chains. And then again, just getting everybody prepared, make sure they're going through their checklist, making sure they understand what their entry point is based on each chain, and everything like that. A lot of that we were able to leverage into our learning center. So I'm kind of giving you guys a behind the scenes token gated access here of our learning center, which is hosted in Charmverse. But all of the tutorials up to this point, we put in here. So adding networks to MetaMask, acquiring tokens from Coinbase, layer swap, and the Clave wallet tutorial we've added as assets here in our learning center so that people can go back and reference them once they gain access to our learning center. And then the last thing I'll share here, I've got 30 seconds left, was we made all the appropriate updates to our website at kingfishersmedia.io. So when people come here to the website, the first thing they're going to see is the passports. How do they unlock the passports? They can join for free via email, or they can do it on a Web3 way. And then if I log in here, 1 second, let's make sure it's going to give me, I'm not going to do that pathway. Anyways, on the website, once you get behind this little wall garden here, and there are times up, but just wrap it up. Once you get behind there, it's got all the links. It goes directly to our third web page where they can go claim their passports. And that's what I've been up to this week.
Awesome. Thanks, Bill. Excellent presentation and great work. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you.
I see Jrocki put up the heart too. Really appreciate both your presentations.
Well, thank you. I
shared.
appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'm going to pick on Jason to go next.
Sounds good.
Happy to. I mean, I don't have a presentation to go through like that, but I feel as though very strongly that Fractally is a great media producer for the types of, it's beyond a contribution to one project, a governance method, right? That does distribute the whatever's at stake within the decision that requires consensus. And what can I say? There's a good parallel to the way that creating a value in the form of education for the whole future, for all to observe the process, the discussion, right? You can summarize it, you can take notes. There's always something to make the future easier so they don't have to go through it all the hard way, so to speak, as resolutions go, right? As group dynamics unfold. And so I have really been racking my mind about the need to relieve affordability crisis everywhere. There's a a value to like the currency as a convention, and the way that people add value in their economy, the way that people add value um, in a project that is like optimism or just any DAO, right? But the way a DAO is, maybe sometimes even a DOE. You've heard that acronym for DHO, a decentralized human organization, right? There are some. Uh, the goals of that is the value add, the value production. And so, um, I guess, um, sorry if this sounds glib, but monetizing the peace movement is part of it, right? It's no secret that there's a lot of industrial protectionism around the jobs program of every country has a jobs program of its militarism, and that to answer that, to have an equal jobs program, right, to have an equal amount of economic activity is transformative, very holistically transformative, in that it adds value, it builds value, it expands uh, the value web. I think of it as a whole value web, so to speak, and that participants in that and the rights, the justice to it is the cohesive element. We can say that from learning about the industry as we have it for any DAO, as we would call it, right? The cohesive element is the purpose, the organizational purpose, the goal, and so uh, um, strengthening the supply web, strengthening it all, and doing that through media production. There's sort of like a layered effect the way that media production has value in the form of, well, there's real value in the education. There's also like a click value, right? And that web traffic itself is known to be monetized. It is, and that's in whatever form, right? Take. So um, I feel as though there is more of a way to do that than before. I feel as though there's a whole way of actually tracking out uh, what is preserved and what is saved and what is built, and that um, without causing too big of a rift in terms of the change effect, in terms of why protectionism exists, right? In that protectionism is thorny, it's a thorny thing, and that economically, a lot of places have kind of reached like peak everything. I mean, like peak production of everything, peak affordability crisis for the debts that they have to pay. Uh, the answer is the value chain. The answer is the value ladder or the value add, and the supply web of where value is added. So that's a data mining challenge. There's an open data mining challenge that, and it's also participatory. There are many aspects to it, but I've been racking my mind for that purpose throughout. While I tinker on my craft, I have uh, pet projects that are, you know, the type that are for food production and for Crypto Oasis for my meetup, where provide exploratory education to the community. It's sort of a public service. Uh, what's in a person's mind is the most valuable thing to anybody, right? Everyone's better off if those around them know the right things. So I feel as though it's the right way to spend my time. I love it.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
All right. Thank you very much, Jason. I see Jesse in the heart too. I think that Will enjoyed it too. Thanks for the thought leadership and sharing your perspectives, Jason. Much appreciated. And I suppose I'll go ahead now and share what I've been up to help optimism this week. Okay, so I suppose I'll start off here in the Optimism Town Hall Snapshot space, where I worked quite a bit, or at least it has a good start to things I did. I made 4 topics this week for the Town Hall, one being the OPtopics game. So we did the OPtopics game a couple times back at the beginning of the year, and it worked out pretty well, but it was also like it was a new thing. And I'm trying to make it simpler and make it more dynamic where people can vote on topics more easily during the Town Hall. So I rewrote it and I had some new ideas about how we could make it run more efficiently. So I just wrote out this topic proposal, which now allows anybody to easily just make topics at any point during the town hall. Previously, there was some, due to technical reasons, with Snapshot, there was a little bit of like more details needed and stuff like that. But now just anybody can make a topic. And this went along with thinking a lot about the planning for season 4 as well. And I think we could start doing these kinds of games a lot more to make it much more interactive town hall and stuff like that. So I just wrote out the game rules and stuff like that. I'll share more about these in the town hall actually, but that was one of the things I did. And then one of the main things I focused on, as Jrocki had mentioned, was Optimism mission requests. He sponsored 2 of the mission requests, which I'm super grateful for, as well as gave a lot of great feedback. And thanks to several other delegates too who have been voting for it. 2 of these mission requests have been approved so far. And then so last week I had made a mission request for developing on-chain social games that attract builders to optimism, and create educational programs that empower developers in optimism and create and distribute videos about optimism collective governance. I also made one about community events that did not get sponsored. But then, yeah, I made a post on Snapshot with more details about each of these, and then kind of like just explained everything to the Optimism Fractal community, as well as share with several other communities where I have an audience, to just share the details, and linked like previous videos where we had discussed these things in more detail, found a bunch of snapshots and stuff like that, or found a bunch of timestamps rather. And then I posted a little bit about this as well on the Optimism governance forum too, where I talked about I announced the season 4 proposal being passed, and I shared this, as well as the new event page. That was another thing I had to deal with, trying to get the event page to work with this week too. I also just followed up. I have a project to promote the mission requests in Notion. So I reached out to a bunch of individual delegates to ask them to support these mission requests, as well as just wrote out reasons why to support them. And then I shared this in a bunch of fractal groups too, people who do fractal processes and other groups. So I gave an update about the new season, the Eden Fractal Epoch 2, which has been recently announced too, and the office hours I'm going to be scheduling, just to kind of share more awareness and education for the wider communities who are not yet out in optimism or looking to optimism in various ways. So promoting optimism around the world, so to speak, and to other people. I also made a topic for, or topic proposal rather, for Optimism Fractal video production. So I've been thinking of this a lot, and I see kind of like on Jason's point, you mentioned media. I think that what we have here with Respect Game is a collaborative video creation process that is super powerful. So I've been thinking of this for a long time. I have an article about this that I can show during the town hall. I see Will upvoted that, so thank you for that. But I made a topic as well as a Notion project that kind of curates some thoughts about this that I've been, I'll add much more there, but there's a lot of like ideas and tasks and stuff that I have to better explain this. So try to get the word out about how this can be helpful for video creators and anybody who wants to make media content. And then I also made another one about Optimism Fractal social media too. This was inspired by Pascal, who's a Fractal leader who joined, talked about social media. So I made this topic about how Optimism Fractal can enhance social media. And then I made another project too, that curates past work with Fractal communities and social media. And I have projects about integrating respect and the respect game with Farcaster and Lens and stuff like that. So I'm kind of just trying to curate that all in one spot to help start building an Optimism Fractal social media app. Once we have like the more core foundations of the respect game app, make it easier to play. So I think that's gonna be super powerful, but just started to put that out there, made a topic about it. I'm always working on the Optimism Fractal Notion site too, so you can see a bunch of projects that I started and explore more in the tasks too. 2 of the projects, one that I made is an Optimism Fractal builder site too, which is something I've been thinking about for a long time, about ways that we could curate like everybody's contributions and videos from each event, and kind of have like personal profiles where people can see their videos. And then also I've been working a lot on making Optimism Fractal GPT as well to make it really easy to create more content, answer questions and so forth, because we have a huge amount of data that we can give to ChatGPT, and have it be more productive in doing marketing and promotions and answering questions to explain these new products and innovations and get the word out to help promote public goods creators and stuff like that. I also made some tweets and posted on X too, and then I always I always collaborate with Rosemary too on providing some feedback about the image. She makes beautiful image and the text and so forth. So I worked on that. And then lastly, a couple of things I just wrote down. I met with Vlad too, who's one of the core members of Optimistics, who helped build their software currently for Optimism Fractal. He built the front end, and he's inspired to build like a new Fractal app too. So I talked with him about that for a while. So that's really cool. And then I also met with a client who I've been talking about for a while, who wants to integrate the respect game. And so we had a lot of great discussions that I can share more details about soon. And then I also did a lot of strategizing for next season, as I said before. So that's my contributions, and hope you all enjoyed. Thanks everybody so much for the wonderful work. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the heart. Thanks for the hearts. Ooh, very nice. If anybody has any, thank you. If anybody has any questions or comments for anybody at this point, then feel free to share. I'm gonna pull up Fractalgram too. Jesse, in case you're not familiar, Fractalgram is a Telegram client that we use to rank each other's contributions. So I'll have that up in a moment, and we'll share a Telegram invite to everybody. And then we'll put in our Optimism addresses and play the consensus game with ranking. But yeah, if anybody has any questions or comments for anybody now, then feel free to ask, or if you have any just thoughts you want to share, then feel free. The floor is open.
Yeah, also, so I can really appreciate the amount of effort that you put into writing all of those mission requests. Like I've wrote mission requests before, and it just takes incredible amount of effort and brain power. So I appreciate you putting that forth, and I respect it. It's I know it takes a lot of effort to put something that good together.
Well, thank you very much, Jesse. I appreciate that very much. And I really appreciate you reading them too. It seems like you read it quite carefully and thoughtfully, and can't express how much I appreciate you supporting it. That's super helpful for Optimism Fractal, for me personally, and I believe for many others who are who are building on optimism and attracting developers on optimism and so forth. So yeah, really appreciate all your help, and really appreciate all your work in general, both as a content creator, educating people about optimism and helping introduce. As I said, really appreciate you. I think the first like 2 or 3 podcasts I listened to, like 2 of them were with you. So you played like a really big role in my journey with optimism, and I appreciate that, as well as all the work that you do with as a delegate in your new role and hosting the shows and stuff. So just want to reemphasize my appreciation for that. Also, I'd like to briefly thank ChatGPT as well, because ChatGPT helps a lot for making mission requests too. So it does make it a bit easier. I made a mission request last season, and it took much more time than it did this season, because this season I was able to save a lot of time by using a little AI here and there. My apologies for taking a little while to get this.
It's still really
started.
valuable though.
Mm-hmm.
It's still really valuable. I think that is a really good example of uh, the value add that's available, right? When people get to it and get through things, that it's powerful. It's amazingly powerful.
Yep. And in
Yeah,
all
I agree. I
fairness,
think that's exactly how AI tools should be used, to kind of as a brain power multiplier, if you will, because exactly like you said, the end result is still a really good mission request.
yeah, and in full fairness and transparency, I even use ChatGPT this week. I use ChatGPT more for like if I don't know where to get started, I need a solid outline for a document that I'm creating, especially if it's like for an investor pitch deck, or like as an example, this week, one thing I didn't mention in my presentation is we executed a executive producer proposal, because our brand, Kingfisher's Corner, we're looking to get you know, a way to monetize that is through an executive producer credit. So ChatGPT was helpful in me creating a very concise form and structure for a proposal that we sent out to a potential executive producer that they're reviewing and evaluating right now. So.
Very cool. Well, thanks for the thoughtful comments and great work as always, Will. And Yeah, I think that's also one of the powerful things about a community too, like Optimism Fractal, the entire collective and the entire super chain as well, because we all get stronger when we collaborate together. And then when each of us learn to use these tools together and row in the same direction, then we can do really amazing things. And the world needs it. So appreciate it very much. I'm going to be sharing the link, by the way, in the
Cool.
Zoom chat
Oh,
right
by
now.
the way, Dan, we're a go for next Wednesday, so
Okay, sounds great. I look
I've been
forward to
busy.
it very much. I'm sorry, what's that last thing you said?
I said, no, I've just been busy. I haven't had time to give you the green light on that. So I knew I'd see you here. So I just want to let you know we're a green light for Wednesday morning. And you're going to get like the first 10, 15 minutes of the meeting to introduce that. And then we're going to go on to another topic that we have to cover, which is an exercise around the mission and the vision of the DAO. So.
Okay, excellent. Well, I look forward. Thanks for the invite and thanks for your interest in implementing in some way Cagendas with Let's Grow. And I look forward to meeting all the members. I don't know all the founders and all the members yet, so look forward to speaking to everybody and lots of collaborations, as well as hearing about the mission and vision and stuff too. That sounds cool. I just shared the Fractalgram group. So far, Will is in there, Jesse and Jason. If you could please check the Zoom chat and click on the Telegram link I just shared there, and then join the Telegram group. And then once you join, I'll put up the prompt where you can enter your Optimism address. Okay, thank you. And now I put up the prompt. Just one little thing about this, Jesse, is that you need to right click it if you're on a desktop and do it as a reply. And then you can just copy and paste your public key. Or if you're on mobile, then you can just hold down on it to do a reply. Okay, so far Will and me have put in up, and Jrocki did too. And now we're just waiting on Jason whenever you're ready. If anybody had any other questions or comments, by the way, especially anything that would be helpful for you to better understand somebody's work or better understand if you should rank them higher or lower or whatever it is, then feel free to ask. And Jason put up the public key as well, so thank you for that. And now we have the poll for level 6 as well. So Jesse, in case you're not familiar, level 6 is who you think did the most to help optimism this week. We're also, you can go more generally too if you want, but generally who you think had the most positive contributions and impact on optimism this past week. You can pick whoever that is right now. And then after that, we'll choose level 5, which would be the second most, level 4, which would be the third most, and so forth. And each person will get respect if we all reach consensus with at least two-thirds of us, but we'll receive a higher amount of respect. The higher level you get about 60% more respect. Okay, and we do not yet have consensus. So I voted for Jrocki, Will voted for Jason, and Will and Jesse voted for me. So we need to get 3/4 consensus in order to move on to the next ranking. I will ask that people vote for Jesse because I appreciate my votes very much. And I appreciate, I think Will voted for Jason. I was a little confused about how that worked. But yeah, I advocate for Jesse here because Jesse's done a huge amount to help optimism in general. He's been super doing great stuff. So I think everybody moved over. Will and Jason moved over to Jesse. So that means that Jrocki got level 6. So
You guys are too kind.
I think it's just that you're doing really great work. And so I'm glad that Will and Jason switched over. I think it's very much deserved. Okay, and now we can pick level 5. Got a thumbs up from Jason. And for level 5, we have 3 votes for me. I voted for Will here, but I suppose I'll accept this. And thank you everybody for the respect. Much appreciated. And we can move on to level 4.
You always do a lot, so
I do, as do you, sir.
it's hard not to vote for you.
Well, thanks, Will. I feel the same way about you too. Your presentations each week are really, really awesome. And I really appreciate both your support for Optimism Fractal and me and the community, as well as everything you're doing on the super chain and in general to help spread Web3, the Kingfishers and all the other initiatives that you're working on. Okay. And it looks like we have consensus for Will on level 4. And that means that Jason has level 3, which is also much respect and much appreciation for everything you do, Jason. I really appreciate it. And like I
And
said,
thanks for the respect, everyone, too. For level
Alright,
4.
And you know, there's an adjustment that we all have to make cognitively a little bit for what we're used to, and that the success of this whole process is that we agree. It's not about the difference between second place and third place, or 6 or 5 or something. It's about the correct answer, and that we all get a reward. There's a reward at every station in the process, and it's just an abstract. It's just an exercise, but it's amazing how different of a perspective the whole industry is. In that, to be decentralized, we have to make sure that we're all replaceable. For example, it's a very different mentality. And this is true of the fractal. It's like everybody gets respect. It's not about contest. It's a process.
yeah, well said, Jason. You see Jesse putting up some hearts and thumbs up there. And yeah, consensus is a really important part. It's a consensus building practice where we're learning to get along better and cooperate better and coordinate better. So that's really important and a big value in itself. And then we all get awards and we build something that can be much greater than each of us alone. And we can build something that is long lasting for the benefit of all.
Well, and the way that we're doing this is very much an exercise, in that it's a serious build out. There's a lot of work that is serious to it. At the same time, the token that we're distributing doesn't feel as high stakes as it would, right? And it could. So there's that to it, but it's still the same thing. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. I say respect has mystical powers, and I think we're just beginning to see, and we'll see much more in the coming months and years and so forth, just what respect can do. And I think that the respect of a community is very powerful, especially as the community grows, which I think it will, thanks to all your support and everybody who's doing great things here, and just the general the designers, the process, and so forth. I think that we're that respect will earn a lot. And then plus, thanks to people like Jesse for sponsoring the mission request, because that allows, at least it provides the opportunity for people like me to make proposals that actually can gain funding for participants at these events. And we have an excellent way to distribute funding. That was one of the original ideas when the Fractally team first made this process, that people are earning funds by joining these. So that's one of the goals too, that we are closer to accomplishing than ever. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks and months for that. There we go. We talked about that a little bit last week's episode too. Yeah, it is very important to make it so people can earn a living and so forth. And the more people we can attract and help people earn a living and build a career and so forth and build relationships on Optimism, the better for everybody. By the way, I forgot to mention, but I just put out, or a couple minutes ago, I put out the prompt where it says based on the latest polls, this seems to be the result. And so it has the rankings there. You can give it a thumbs up in Telegram if you want, but the main thing to do there is, well, Will and Jason are well familiar with this, but Jesse, in case you didn't do it already, it says results can be submitted here. And then the here is a hypertext link. And if you click there, then that'll open up optimismfractal.web.app, and it will have our accounts pre-filled in. So you'll see, for example, yours at the top because you got level 6. Actually, there'll be room 2 above that. But basically, if you could please, we need to have 3/4 consensus on chain in order for respect to be distributed without some sort of extra proposal or something like that. So if everybody can please take a moment and make sure to submit your results on chain by clicking that link, signing in, and then hitting submit to push on chain, then that would be much appreciated and allow us each to earn respect for coming to consensus. Okay, and I just got a message from Rosemary too, who said that she's ready. Their breakout room is ready. So I think we'll head back into the community room, and the town hall starts in 9 minutes for anybody who wants to stick around. But we can also just have kind of an open discussion for the next 9 minutes there. Would love to hear, for example, Jrocki, if you have any feedback on your first respect game. But also, how about we just go back to the community room and meet up with them first? And so we'll have a community discussion.
Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks all for the great respect game. I'm going to close the rooms now. Ooh. Okay, I think it's better now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my apologies for technical issues. Zoom froze out. Hope everybody had a great time in their breakout room. I don't know if you were all having any discussions that you want to continue. Or one thing I had suggested before we left the breakout room too is if Jrocki wanted to share any feedback for the respect game, first respect game. Also, if you wanted to share, you shared a great introduction during the respect game, but if you wanted to briefly introduce yourself to the other community members, you could. No need, of course, but you'd be very welcome to, and we'd be happy to hear from you if you do.
Yeah, of course. Also, props to the developer who came up with this mechanism. Also you have to check, make sure that I pushed it on chain. I think it went through. But is that creating an attestation? Like, are you using attestation, or I don't know if anybody in here knows.
Yeah, so
It's all right.
no, I'm happy to answer that too, by the way. It's currently not using Ethereum attestation service. We have a project, and we've talked about this a lot, to integrate it with the Ethereum attestation ES standard and make a schema for it. But right now, it's kind of like a general attestation. So it is indeed an attestation in the general sense of the term, but it's not using the ES standard. But that's something that we want to do in the future.
Very cool, very cool. I'll introduce myself. Jesse or Jrocki, I started in Optimism like, I don't know, 2.5, 3 years ago or so. I just started kind of doing a podcast, interviewing early stage building on Optimism. And then I also did a bunch of tutorial videos for the quests and how to kind of use different protocols on Optimism, and just kind of got involved in governance as a delegate. And then, I don't know, like 15 months ago, I joined the Optimism Foundation. And then 2 months ago, I actually left the Optimism Foundation to begin working for the DAO. And so now I'm a full-time delegate, and I'm also on the Grants Council. And then also I'm still trying to put out some video tutorials and stay active on Twitter and as a creator as well. And then I don't know if I mentioned I also do I'm also a delegate. But yeah, that's basically it.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jesse. Really appreciate it a huge amount. We're going to head into the town hall session in a few minutes, but we can kind of just have open discussion until then. If anybody does need to leave at the top of the hour, then feel free to leave whenever. Also great to see the Tadas and Hadlan and Abraham. I hope that you had a great respect game. Of course, Rosemary too. So if anybody else wants to share any thoughts that are on their mind, then feel free. Or if Jesse, you also wanted to, if you wanted to provide any more feedback about the respect game, then I'd be happy to hear from you too. But the floor is basically open for anybody who wants to share some thoughts if you'd like. And it would be very curious, Jesse. So just overall, you enjoyed the process a lot. And is there anything that you think we could do to improve it, or any other comments you have about it, or?
No, I'm just reflecting. I think the 5 minute timer is good. It just has everybody keep it very concise, right? You can only take in so much information at one time. But yeah, it's nice to hear from everybody else like what they're doing in the optimism community. Well, like one of the reasons why I started the podcast just like what 3 years ago, whenever I got into optimism, was just to talk to the community. So it was like an open Twitter spaces where anybody from the community could come and talk about what they were doing, or ask questions to projects that we may have been interviewing. And like most of the stuff that I've gotten involved in optimism, like being a delegate or being on the grants council or making like tutorial videos, came from chats with optimism community in those kind of Twitter spaces. And so yeah, I think this is super important.
Okay, super cool. Well, I agree. Thanks for the feedback. And glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, for you or anybody else who are leading communities on optimism and so forth, the tools we build are all open source too. So we'd love to, if there's anything we do to help facilitate other community events and so forth, I agree, community events and those spaces to have these conversations are really important. So appreciate all you do, Jesse. Just appreciate everybody here. And I see, well, lots of thumbs up from Jesse. Jesse's throwing the hands. Also, Rosemary just confirmed that both breakout rooms have been submitted successfully too. So your on-chain transaction was successful. Got lots of claps and hearts. Very nice to see. Also, shout out to Tadas too. Tadas built the tool, or he built at least the smart contracts for the tool. Shout out to Vlad, who built the original part of the front end too. Shout out to Abraham, who's been building a new app as well. And Tadas has come up with cool stuff. And Tadan's been building, or at least planning and seeming up lots of great stuff, as well as everybody else building great stuff. And lots of great stuff coming to the build. You mentioned, Jesse, that whoever designed the game, there's some really smart people who designed the game and stuff. So thanks to all the developers here and in Optimism who are building great stuff and allowing us to facilitate these kinds of meetings.
And somebody's got to say something good for Dan too, for all that. You know, goes around, it comes around. We appreciate everybody. Fantastic.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. Okay, and with that, thanks so much. Wow, we got a lot of hearts here. I wish the people on Zoom could see, but there's been like 50 hearts or something. Not quite 50, like 20 or something. So it's really good. Thanks everybody so much. Does anybody have any last comments before we head into the town hall, or should we head into town hall now? We can still have an open discussion, of course, during the town hall, but just want to, we have it scheduled for now, so we can jump in whenever we're ready. And I suppose we'll go ahead and.
We're ready.
All right, we're ready. There we go. Oh, by the way, how was your breakout room, Rosemary? Was it fun? Was it good?
Yes, it was good. Thank you.
Okay.
It was fun.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. Okay, cool. So, oh, I was slightly disorganized. So my apologies. I just realized one thing I need to do here to give a good presentation. Okay. And I will start it up and give a quick presentation to intro the town hall, and then feel free to jump in at any point or anything like that. And then we'll have some topics on the agenda. All right, welcome everybody to the Optimism Town Hall. Thanks so much for joining. This is a space for discussions about optimism and the superchain, where we can vote on topics and have open discussions about whatever's on your mind. For some reason, my computer's going slowly. My apologies. I tried closing out all my like RAM thing before, but apparently it wasn't enough or something. So I'll make sure to get better with my just making sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen with these technical issues. But it seems like it's working now. Okay, so I'll restart that. Hey everybody, welcome to the Optimism Town Hall. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. We're here and we're going to have discussions about optimism. It's a collaborative space with structured discussions using innovative processes on-chain on the superchain. We'll be discussing for about 30 minutes. We have stuff on the agenda, lots of exciting topics. And we play a game called Cagendas here, where anybody can propose topics and vote on topics with a respect token or reputation tokens in general. You can learn about this at optimistics.io/Cagendas and Optimism Town Hall. And we have a event page too that everybody's welcome to join each week, lou.ma/Optimism Town Hall. We host it every Thursday at 18 UTC. And it's right after the Optimism Fractal event too, where we play the respect game. It's a community dedicated to fostering collaboration, awarding public goods creators, and optimizing governance on the superchain. And that's where that respect token comes from, where we can vote on topics. So we just had a great respect game, 2 great respect games actually. So thanks everybody for participating here, and very much looking forward to hearing your thoughts in this town hall. Anybody who's not familiar or wants to learn more about Optimism Fractal, then check out optimismfractal.com and explore. There's lots of great videos here. Actually, yeah, you can see the videos. Currently, the videos for the Optimism Town Hall are part of the Optimism Fractal videos. In the future, we plan to make 2 separate videos for them. But you can see in recent Optimism Town Halls, we've talked about helping the super chain. Actually, we talked about preparing for season 4 because Optimism Town Hall, along with Optimism Fractal, will be taking a 2-week break for summer and then coming back for season 4 after next week's event. So next week's event on the July 25th will be the last event of the season, and then we'll be back on August 15th. And you can see our past episodes where we had a great deep dive into Optimism Season 6 and On-Chain Summer, and talking about leading the super chain and governance intents and reflecting and all sorts of great stuff that we've been discussing here in optimismfractal.com/videos here at the town hall. For today's event, we're going to be playing an OPtopics game or an OPtopics game to choose a discussion topic. So everybody gets a chance to choose from a variety of exciting topics, including Optimism mission requests, Optimism Fractal video production, and social media, and also more, because everybody's welcome to propose a topic or also just a judge topic too. It's we're experimenting with ways to vote on topics with on-chain reputation tokens, but also just an open forum. So feel free to just raise your hand or unmute and just share any thoughts or share anything in the chat as well. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. It's really a place for the community to have a platform to speak and share any thoughts related to optimism in general. So feel free to share any thoughts, but we will also have a bit of an agenda too that we can go through, and we'll discuss the topic that received the most votes too. You can see this beautiful illustration that kind of shows how people can vote with respect on these different topics. I put out this topic. The way it works with Cagendas is that whichever topic has the most votes on Monday at 17 UTC is the topic that's discussed. And I propose a topic for this playing OPtopics game, a kind of a refined version because we played a couple times earlier. And basically the way it works is that anybody can just suggest topics by putting a poll in the Optimism Town Hall Snapshot space. If you want, you can use weighted voting, but just keep it simple. If you want to just put up any poll, anything on your mind that you want to discuss, then you can put up there, and then you can vote on topics with respect. And also we can switch topics too. So there's a system here where people can like type next topic. So if you want to move on to the next topic, then feel free to just type or share the words next topic. And then that kind of starts up a 1-minute timer where we can move on to the next topic unless other people want to stay on the topic. And there's a bit of a system here that we're experimenting with for this game. But once again, it's kind of an experiment. And so feel free to just share thoughts too, but we'll also try out this game. And this is the Optimism Town Hall Snapshot space. Where you can see the topics on the agenda. So I proposed 3 topics. If anybody wants at any point, feel free to propose another one here and we could vote or just suggest it. The 3 topics I proposed are Optimism mission requests, Optimism Fractal video production, and Optimism Fractal social media too. So I'll run through each of these briefly. And also let you know the one with the most votes right now is about Optimism Missions. So that's what we'll discuss first. But perhaps after that, we can discuss Optimism Fractal social media and talk about how Optimism Fractal and the respect game in general can enhance social media, can integrate with protocols like Farcaster and Lens, and empower the future of on-chain social media networks. There's also a rich history behind Fractal social media, and I made a project for creating Optimism Fractal social media app too, that you can see here too. If you'd like, then you can explore this. It's kind of a work in development, but lots of resources here where you can learn more about a bunch of tasks that we have in mind, as well as other projects to integrate with Farcaster and Lens and so forth. So lots of stuff we could discuss there. And then also Optimism Fractal video production too. This one also received 230 OPF votes. Thanks, Will, for voting on this and sharing your opinion. So we can choose this topic or the social media topic next, depending on the votes when we get around to it. But this one is about how Optimism Fractal and the respect game provides a powerful way to collaborate with videos. And I've spoken a lot with Rosemary about ways that we can enhance our video production. Of course, as I showed before, you can check out optimismfractal.com/videos to see all the videos and great show notes there and everything like that. But we also have a project about how this provides a new way that people can collaborate and create media together. So all sorts of stuff like we could do, like cutting people's individual presentations and featuring in different ways and so forth. So once again, there's a project where you can learn more about a bunch of tasks related to this and so forth. But we can get into that if there's time, or we can always save it for another week if we want. And then the topic that received the most votes for this week is Optimism mission requests. So we discussed this at the past few events now. And so I wrote it here that I'm excited to share that I created a few mission requests in Optimism Season 6. These are to develop on-chain social games that track builders to optimism, create educational programs that empower developers on optimism, and create and distribute videos about the Optimism Collective governance. Also create one about organizing community events too, but these three got sponsored, and so far 2 of them have been approved by Optimism delegates as well. Big shout out and thank you to Jesse, Jrocki, who's on the call today, who reviewed and sponsored 2 of these originally and provided a lot of great feedback. And also huge thanks to the delegates who approved these 2. I think that each of these are designed to help Optimism Fractal grow, as well as other builders on the super chain who are building similar things and create a more positive impact for the collective and the super chain. You can learn more by clicking on each one of these to see the post. Each one of these have pretty detailed overview. For example, to develop on-chain social games to attract builders to Optimism. You can see how this is beneficial and how it will accomplish the intent to attract developers in the super chain. People can check out optimism.io if you're not sure about that super chain and what it is, but I think everybody knows here. So you can explore the post there. I think I'll keep my presentation pretty short though, just so we can have more time for discussion, but being that this was the top topic, I just wanted to give a little quick overview about it. One of the ideas for this mission request, by the way, is just that we can really help Optimism Fractal with the OP funding to make it that people can earn funding by building tools with Optimism Fractal, or creating and sharing content, or by participating in events and earning respect, all sorts of things we can do. And this is just the first step, kind of, as we discussed in Optimism Season 6. We did a video about this where we went in more detail about mission requests and what they are. It's kind of an opportunity in a way to like design your own grant program that the Grants Council, which Jrocki also serves as a member of, will review if the delegates approve, and then they can allocate funding to people who apply for these. So the first step is to get them approved. There's also about 20 other mission requests, maybe 30, that got approved too. You can see, I don't have the link here right in front of me right now. I can pull it up, but there's a voting where you can see the status of all the mission requests that have been approved. And there's a whole bunch of great ones that people in the community and the collective had created and delegates reviewed and voted for. So there's many other things that people in general can apply for in Optimism for proactive funding to complete missions and to get more of a leadership role and help the super chain in different ways. And that's in addition to the retro funding rounds, which will be coming up in the next couple months too. So very curious to hear everybody's thoughts about this. I can provide more details if you like. I also linked a project where I created with more details where you can learn more, and a video where you can learn more too. And I see Rosemary put the link in there where you can vote on these proposals. But yeah, basically, I think maybe I'll just keep it short there. If you want, I can go into more details about any of this. But otherwise, very curious to everybody's thoughts about the Optimism mission request. So feel free to share any thoughts or questions. And if anybody wants to as well move on to the next topics about Optimism Fractal social media or video production, or have anything else in your mind, then feel free to let us know as well. And the floor is open.
I have a quick question, Dan. So from a high level, do you have a view on what the process will be with the Optimism Fractal and the mission request approval in the future? Is it, will we have a bunch of proposals coming in and have to kind of look at those and try to vet them? Or how does that actually look in practice?
So the way it works is that anybody can make a mission request, which will be reviewed by the Grants Council too. So I think if I go to optimism.io/grants, I don't remember the exact link, but it explains, and that would have been good. My apologies, I didn't pull up all the materials that I wanted to because I had a couple technical issues. So a little bit disorganized, but there's really great documentation on the Optimism website about how to actually apply for these mission requests and so forth. And I've also had a lot of experience too, because as I said before, we applied for the Optimism missions when we first started Optimism Fractal, and we actually made a bunch of videos about it at the time too. The process has changed pretty considerably since then, but a lot of it's still the same too. But yeah, basically the way it works is that anybody can now apply for, or not now, it starts actually, I think it actually starts tomorrow. There'll be 6 different cycles, which are, I think, 3-week cycles where people can apply for the different mission requests. And then the Grants Council, Jesse, and I think there's 12 or 11 other people on that Grants Council, will review each of the proposals that people apply during each one of those cycles. And then they'll provide feedback. They have a rubric where they'll provide scoring to say, okay, well, this proposal is good for this reason, but maybe it's lacking in that reason. And there's also Grants Council office hours too, where anybody can join to ask questions to the grants counselors. And then if it is approved, if somebody makes a mission request and it's approved, then they can basically start doing the mission requests, and then there'll be a milestone-based funding kind of thing, or a milestone-based system where they lay out milestones and then they'll report to the grants council once every, say, 3 months or 6 months, something like that, to share their progress. And then the funding will be allocated from the Optimism Foundation, provided that those milestones that were created in the proposal are met, and it basically checks through with everything that people aim to do. You mentioned something about us reviewing proposals. So one of the ideas that I had, that I'd like to achieve, and one of the reasons why I made this proposal, is Tadas recently made, and he's building the OREC, the Optimistic Respect Executive Contract, or Optimistic Respect-Based Executive Contract, which basically allows like a decentralized contract to be owned by or executed and managed by a community that plays the respect game, such as Optimism Fractal. So that would allow, for example, if we are able to receive funding, say if I make a mission request or you make a mission request, something like that. I mean, for one thing, we can just make a mission request and say, hey, I want to build this tool, or I want to build this community or whatever, and just get funding for yourself to build a tool, or for anybody or any team to build a tool or community or do whatever it is, as long as it's in line with the mission request. But then another idea too is that we potentially, there's something called the growth experiment grant. It's kind of just like part of the main process now, as we discussed, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Abraham. So I think you know, but we could have it where potentially funding could go to fund participants at events, or people who interact with a respecting contract, for example, or any smart contract. But I'm particularly thinking about it with the respecting contract. So that could have it where with Tadas's OREC system, where there's like a decentralized contract, we could potentially make a mission request where the Optimism Fractal community could have some say or input and be able to execute proposals or transactions, something like that, to be able to distribute funds to other things, like, for example, respect game. So people could earn funds by participating in the respect game, or there could even be other ways. There's a lot of like intricacies with the grants council too, and the system too. So like it can't be like a grants as a service in some way. If it's like, you know, just you deciding to give it to your friends or something like that, you can't say, hey, I want a 50K OP to give to my friends or other people. But I think if it's a decentralized protocol, like the one that Tadas is built, and it has like 42 people who participate in the respect games, then that could work with it, where that could be a way where potentially people can come to proposals for Optimism Fractal, and Optimism Fractal could say, hey, we think that funding should be available here, or whatever it is. That's all to be like worked out though, and basically make a proposal and see what the grants council thinks, and I suppose up for us too during these town halls and other meetings to decide what we best want to do. I'm planning to make a proposal or a few proposals, and I have a general idea of what to do. But if you have any ideas, or if anybody has any ideas about the best way to do this or best proposals to make, I'm happy to collaborate to figure out the best proposals to make. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. So it sounds like from a high level, essentially the Optimism Foundation, you know, like they're giving out grants, but this mission request is sort of like another layer down, where they actually get additional filtering, you know, from other groups, and then that filtering allows for higher quality proposals to actually get funded in the end. Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, I think that's essentially right. And of course, Jesse, if you have any, if you want to provide any clarification, if I misspoke there, then we'd be happy, because Jesse, he's serving on the Grants Council, so, and he's been with Optimism for the past, as he said, about 2.5 years. So feel free to jump in at any point if you have any clarification like that, and anything like that would be appreciated. But yeah, to my understanding, that's basically correct. There's also so maybe I'll go ahead and real quick share the screen that Rosemary shared. She found that link I was aiming to share before. Thanks for the thumbs up, Jrocki. This is Optimism Docs, which you can find at community.optimism.io/docs/governance/get-a-grant. And this explains some of the different processes for getting a grant. So there's retroactive public goods funding, which is giving out 40 million OP this year, which we talked about, and the governance and debt tooling rounds are coming up soon with the Citizens House. And in addition, there's mission grants too. And so this is kind of what I explained here, but also with more details. And there's a bit of context too. Like I was actually reading in the governance forum to kind of answer your question, I think, Abraham. So previously, mission grants didn't exist until I think season 3 or seasons 4 of Optimism. And it used to be a system where the delegates directly voted on where to allocate funding, but the collective basically realized that, hey, it's helpful to have another process where people like Jesse can apply to become grants counselors and be like the council that reviews these mission requests for the Optimism Foundation. And the Optimism Foundation takes care of the actual distribution of funds, and they do KYC and stuff like that. And they basically take what the Grants Council does and then says, okay, Grants Council approved this one. We're going to give funding to that person because they were approved by the Grants Council and so forth. In addition, one other thing that I can mention too is that there is a partner and seed fund that it says there's no application process to the grants, but I think I saved at some point they have an email address or something like that where I've been planning to reach out to them for a while. So in addition, you can also reach out to the Optimism Foundation or what's called the partner fund independently of the grants council too. But I think one of the ideas of the grants council is to have this smooth and streamlined process to make it so that it can there's counselors who can review a lot of applications and so forth. Does that answer and provide clarity?
Yeah, that helps a lot. I'm sorry, I'm so busy with between work and kids and stuff. It's just I have trouble finding time to read all of it. So I appreciate the TLDR.
No problem at all. Thanks, Abraham. I know you've been quite busy. Hope your family's doing well. And yeah, it is a lot to read. I remember Gene was talking about that a couple weeks ago when he was on, and the Optimism Foundation and the leaders who set up these programs or organizers, as well as the grants counselors and delegates and so forth, do a great job of communicating. But also, it's this very new system. Basically, it's been around for maybe a year or two, to some extent, but it's constantly evolving, constantly developing, so it's a lot to follow. It takes me like many hours of the day to do it, and it helps. That's one of the intentions, as I said before, of the this town hall too, to try to be able to provide this place where people can ask questions and get into more details and so forth. This, by the way, for anybody who's not familiar, gov.optimism.io is where you can learn a lot more details about all of these. This is like it's very well organized. There's still a huge amount here, so you'll have no ability to read all of it. I have no ability to read all of it. I don't know if anybody does, but there's just like an immense amount of great content, and I spend many hours reading this to learn about it. And then also, as we discussed in the previous episode, so for anybody who's not familiar or wants more questions or anything like that, the previous episode that we did about Optimism Season 6, so these are new questions that we're going over, but there's a lot more basic info that we went over there, and we also talked about a little bit in 33 and 34, and I actually shared some timestamps in the Discord channel, Optimism Fractal Discord channel, which I encourage anybody to feel free to reach out with any questions throughout the week too. If you would like more information, then I'll do my best to either answer or give you contact information for other people you can learn from as well for more of these kinds of things about optimism missions and so forth. If anybody else has a comment, maybe I'll just leave it open. Thanks, Adlan, for making the poll to join next week's Optimism Fractal Council. I'll show that on the screen in a little while. But first, I see Jason's unmuted, or if Will or Adlan or Rosemary, if you wanted to share any thoughts, or Jesse, you want to jump in with anything, then feel free. Floor's open.
I'm good. I'm
I did
pretty
unmute,
familiar
but
with.
I'm not a rush.
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead,
Jesse. I didn't mean to talk over you. No, I'm good. I'm fairly familiar with the process. We submitted for a builder's grant in season 5, and basically the general feedback is that the grants council wanted to see more than just intent, so we had to actually go out and start building something. So that's where we're at with that. But we intend to be resubmitting an application for this cycle as well. And it's really cool, these like in between cycle opportunities to put forward missions that they want to see, or contributors within the ecosystem and the Optimism Collective want to see funding for. I feel is a really cool way to keep the community engaged in between cycles as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Will. Well, yeah, I wish you the best of luck with the mission applications you'll be doing this year. Doing excellent work with Kingfisher Media, and I hope that you'll get funded, and I think it'll help the super chain a lot. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing your
especially since we
experiences
have
too.
passports out on OP now, right? Along with base. So.
Very nice. If anybody wanted to, I totally forgot to mention, except for in the beginning, but if anybody wanted to share any links, if you want to share links to the passports and stuff, Will, I know you've been putting out some great tweets where people can learn more. So feel free to share in the Telegram or the Discord or the Zoom chat as well. Also, thanks Rosemary for sharing the video for Optimism Season 6, as well as all the other links for the proposals and everything else. I think Jesse was going to say something before. Jesse, you want to unmute and share
Oh
anything?
yeah, so actually, I was just going to give credit where credit is due. So you have an incredible amount of knowledge in your head just about optimism governance, and it is incredibly complex, like because you said, or just like you said, it changes, every season, and so props for that. But I also wanted to say that what you're doing right with actually coming into governance and kind of understanding the system and then kind of writing these mission requests and putting them forward and then reaching out to other delegates to support them is exactly how you affect change in the ecosystem that you're in. So it's like if you want to see something get funded, it's like the way to do it, I think, is what you and this whole group is kind of doing, is actually going in and engaging, learning about the governance system, how grants work, figuring out what the collective needs, writing mission proposals for that, and then going out and reaching out and getting those sponsored.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Jesse. I appreciate the kind words very much, and also the information too. Yeah, it's very helpful. And people, I reached out to a bunch of delegates and grants counselors this season, and they've been super kind and helpful too. So much appreciation to you and all the grants council delegates. As Rosemary and Jason are enjoying the clapping and dancing over there too, having a good time. Yeah, so thanks for all the information. Yeah, and also I suppose two other things I can add to that too. One is that I think, as maybe Will hinted at with the cycles, and I'm not sure if I said before, but there's like 6 cycles too, so there's opportunities to apply for the grants until like I think September for this season, or maybe even October, something like that.
November.
So November. Okay, thanks, Will.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just looked at the Charmverse. I just looked at the calendar. It goes all the way through November.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the first time that I heard about it last year was we heard about like a week before, so we didn't have much time to prepare our proposal. But now we have like 4 months or whatever to for everybody to think about proposals to make and so forth. And there's also, as I said, the office hours and so forth. Also, the Optimism Foundation is hosting office hours every Wednesday too. I think there's 2. Jesse hosts a super chain, and I think for a while he's hosting an office hours in Discord, but now there's also another office hours hosted by I believe Maxwell too. So there's lots of resources where you can ask questions to be put in the Optimism Collective and Foundation too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, that just reminded me. There's so much going on. So to kind of keep track of it all, there is an Optimism public calendar and then an Optimism governance calendar, which has all of the office hours and demo days. Maxwell's hosting the Builders demo day for Optimism, and then on Mondays is the Grants Council's office hours. And yeah, you guys are right. So it actually should be tonight or tomorrow that these mission proposals go live, and you can apply. So you can start applying for them in Charmverse tonight or tomorrow, ideally tonight, because we'll know in an hour or so which proposals or which mission requests actually pass, and then everybody can start applying to them. And then once you apply, whoever on the grants council is dedicated to reviewing that certain mission request or the mission proposal for the mission request will start reading your proposal and giving you some feedback.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much, Jesse, for the information. So people can check out the public governance calendar, and you go to gov.optimism.io. Then right at the top, you can find those events. We're also working on curating these as well as more community events too, like people's Twitter space and stuff on Optimism. But this governance calendar is a way that you can find out the events that are hosted pretty much directly by the Optimism Foundation and Collective, and you can find that right here. And then I can share a link to the one that we're working on too for more details about different events everybody's interested in, but these events are excellent to go to. Another thing I just realized I should mention a couple of these things too. Vote.optimism.io is the voting portal where everybody can vote as well as follow progress too. So for example, you can see these 2 proposals for the mission requests have here's where you can find out all the mission requests that were sponsored, basically. So this one ended, and you can see the create and distribute videos was sponsored here, as well as 9 other mission requests where you can look into each one of these. So everybody can feel free to look around at anything that might interest them and see the OP rewards that are available for these. And then, so that's intent. That's intent 1. The intent 3A, which is, so intent 1 is about basically helping governance, and then 3A is about attracting developers to Superchain. And you can see all the mission requests that were approved here, as well as all of their the OP that's allocated for it too. And then there's another one, 3B, which is for the superchain, basically, where there'll be other grants programs and other networks like Base and so forth that are part of the superchain. And so all these, I'm still looking forward to more details. Each of these you can go and click on, and you can find the governance forum post with more details about each of these. And then one other thing I want to mention too, real quick, because we only have a minute left scheduled. If anybody needs to hop off, then feel free. Last week we did go a half hour extra. So that's an option if we want, or we can wrap it up at the half hour. Make sure we respect everybody's time. So if anybody does want to hop off, then feel free. But one other thing I want to share too is I've been in contact, because I went back and forth with Jesse a lot actually, because I made this mission. I made those 4 mission requests, and 3 of them got sponsored. And one of them is about developing on-chain social games. And I got in contact with Gunna, who I think is the lead, or he's been in the Grants Council for a long time, and he knows a lot of stuff about how these things work. So if you wanted to go in to see those mission requests I made, you can also find it here, either in the snapshot proposal or in the vote.optimism.io. And then you can go and see, for example, this one that I created, or actually Jesse created it on my behalf, because I had originally requested a larger grant amount of 250 KOP, but Jrocki made a proposal for 75K because he wanted to make sure that it gets approved and so forth. He liked the idea, but it was also very last minute too, because I've been busy and I didn't have a chance to make these earlier and really communicate with a lot of time. But I had made a post where I shared more details about why I'm planning to request more funding to help Optimism Fractal, so people can read into this general rationale about on-chain social games and benefits that anybody can apply to with on-chain social games, and then also some more about Optimism Fractal and how I think it would be really helpful to, and it's like a great time to fund mission requests with Optimism Fractal, so people can explore this. I took a lot of time to write this out and explain it. And afterwards, I got in contact with Gunna, thanks to PGov, or Juan from PGov, and Jesse. We've been in a chat, and Juan referred me to Gunna, and Gunna explained that it is possible to change the budgets too, in like a midterm budget too. So that's something that anybody can do. I think I'm still figuring out the process there, but we can also request different amounts of funding and so forth going forward. So that's an option there. So it's quite a flexible process, and I think the way it works is basically people go to vote.optimism.io, as I showed before, and then people can make proposals there to the delegates and so forth. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show there. This has been a wonderful town hall event. Happy to go longer if people would like. Also, I think Jason was unmuted too. So Jason, if you wanted to share any thoughts, or Will or Abraham, Jesse, Rosemary, Hadlan, thanks everybody so much for joining. Thanks so much for playing the respect game and sharing all the great contributions, and sharing all the great thoughts of being here with us at the town hall. I'm really looking forward to collaborating with you all to help grow Optimism, the super chain, going forward, and also looking forward to collaborating on these missions for anybody who's interested as well. So thanks everybody so much for joining, and we'll have our last event of Optimism Fractal Season 3 in the town hall next week on July 25th. And of course, anybody, I remember actually Hadlan had created the poll to join next week's council too. So thank you, Hadlan, for making this poll. I'll pull that up right now. If you go to the snapshot space for the Optimism Fractal community, then you can see a poll where you can participate in the Week 36 Council, and you can learn how that works on optimismfractal.com/council or /details. So encourage everybody to do that, and also encourage anybody, if you want to propose a topic for the next week's Optimism Town Hall, then you can go to the Optimism Town Hall snapshot space and then just put up something. Feel free to also just share it in the Discord too. Encourage you all to share comments and thoughts there throughout the week. And then I imagine we'll probably do some sort of like fun celebration for the end of the season or something like that next week. But maybe we can play some sort of fun game to help Optimism or something. If anyone has any ideas, then feel free to share. I'm ready to wrap it up whenever, or happy to stick around if anybody has any questions or anything like that. So thanks everybody so much for all the amazing work. Jason?
I'll save it till after. I'll save it for the informal stage because it's really just building up.
Okay.
No, good at this.
Okay, sounds good. So sorry, I forgot you off guard by there by saying your name really quickly. But yeah, feel free to share if you did want to share it on the recording or afterwards. I can also stick around. A couple weeks ago, we tried an office hour space too, where we kind of had like a more informal discussion off the recording afterwards. So I could also end the recording at any point. We could have an off the recording conversation if he wants. But yeah, does anybody have any last thoughts, or should we wrap that up? Or the floor is open basically if anybody wants to share any last thoughts or questions or comments or anything like that.
Okay, so let's go. Let's wrap it up.
Very informative, you guys. Very informative. Really good work too. And all I have is brainstorming stuff, so it's not for now. But I'll stay on with you after for the informal, for the stuff not recorded.
Okay, sounds great. Well, looking forward to hearing your brainstorming, Jason. Thanks again so much. Hotline, Jesse, Abraham, Jason, and Rosemarie, and shout out to Tadas and I don't remember the last person who was here right now. I'm forgetting Will. Shout out to Will. Yeah. Thanks everybody so much who's contributed so much, and really looking forward to next steps. And I think I already said all the good sign up stuff. So sometimes we go 3, 2, 1 and we say go something. So maybe we'll count it down with a 3, 2, 1. We talked a lot about optimism mission requests. So maybe we'll talk about 3, 2, 1, go optimism if everybody's up for it.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Go optimism. All right. Thanks everybody so much, and see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.